Yo, what up? You're back here with Dave. I think we have time for a shorter, simple segment called Jobs in the Unwilling. I know we're not off to a good start, essentially, with that pause to make it seem like I had to come up with that on the spot, but I had a vague idea of what I wanted to happen with jobs, and I discussed that with people more than I ever wrote it down because it was so fluid, and I knew that if I sat down with, a team of developers or even people that you would have to pitch an idea to, it would be so much easier for me to discuss that with somebody or pitch that to a group for, 10, 15 minutes than to write it all down, map it out. And I mean, that shit comes with it, but give me, the team of people that's already in there and let me lay my ideas down with yours and we'll come up with something truly spectacular. If you want to succeed, you have to be honest. You don't have to brag or you don't have to be humble. It's better to just be honest. I wouldn't say that I had the ability to walk onto any project, any game in creation, and add a new epic flair, give it a shit ton more that players would appreciate, make that game way more successful if I couldn't deliver. That would be a stupid move, man, because that's a way to get yourself involved in the industry and with the company and make a name for yourself as a fucking idiot and a waste of time and money. Where if I walk into a room with the people from W Omega and Koei and sit down with them about making a truly great Dynasty Warriors game, there will be a great Dynasty Warriors game. A Dynasty Warriors worth reviving the series for. If I sit down with folks from Pokemon America, Nintendo America, Game Freak, the minds involved with shaping and molding either a handheld or console-based Pokemon game, I can get you through all of this work and effort put into the convergence. I can get you the perfect Pokemon game. I can get a few 100 million people playing your game because we did it right. Fuck if it takes longer. Thank you for Pokemon Go, but you know what I'd really appreciate? That 3DS I spent that money on, and these generations for the DS and 3DS that I've spent money on, even back through all of the handhelds from Game Boy, Color, Mini, Pocket, SP, GBA. Fuck you if you're not going to give me my money's worth. Because you adding Pokemon, subtracting Pokemon, changing the team, and changing the fucking locale is not enough for me to continue spending that money on. Now we sit in the era of Wii U, we sit in the era of the 3DS, and we could very well create an incredible Pokemon game by changing the foundation. And I will sit down and have that conversation for 15 minutes, and you will agree with me. And I am honest, and I am fucking confident in saying that. Does it sound like I'm making this up? Does it sound like I'm being too proud? No. Years and years of work developing an entirely new... What is not important is that it's new. What's important is that it is vastly improved in likability, engageability, depth, and scale from what is already being put out there. And it does not curb my respect or the fact that I've purchased all these games and all these systems and stayed with the franchise from when it originally came out as a fan in the mid-90s. Trading card games show, you got me on all of them for many years. And, the show definitely fell off after, cast members started switching 20 years ago. 20 years ago, when just like Power Rangers, that's when the shit fell off. But give me the creative development team that works on the Pokemon platforms of the handheld generations, and I'll give you a product worth spending the time and money on, and worth paying me a humble fee in what I imagine some consultants are making and the people who sell themselves out as freelancers can bring you. Otherwise, the shit would be on consoles already. The shit would be in theaters. It would be on television, a show that doesn't have a schmedium audience. I don't care if a few million people watch your shit. There's 7 billion plus in the world right now. And we can expand our audience by making an acceptable product. And acceptable is such a high ass standard from what we can be given with the capability of both gaming platforms and in television. Like, if I'm going to spend $50, a movie better be fucking Zootopia. Because I'm a father now, a father of 3, who is 27. Okay, I'll go see Zootopia. I love Zootopia. I got really emotional at several parts in Zootopia, but how many movies come out that maybe it's just me, and maybe that's my drive to be in the industry and make things better and do some good shit for my fellow millennials and people of the world who have the entertainment industry in whatever stretch is part of their lives. I mean, what is amazing is this started with the unwilling in jobs, I think. But here we are talking about the gaming industry and the television industry once again with a semi-pitch. I mean, it's been 6 minutes, 45 seconds. And, you know, we haven't... It's not like any major breakthroughs have been made, but doesn't that jive with you out there if you're somebody that pays for video games, if you're somebody that pays for consoles, somebody that pays for Netflix to have shows to watch, binge watch in a lot of cases. You're looking for the next binge after you finish with one thing or another. I mean, I have Comcast Xfinity because that's my choice. That's the only choice, I should have said, in where I live in Jax, Florida, but, It could be of a much higher quality. And why wouldn't you want to draw in the greatest, the most massive audience? I mean, doesn't that profit you the most? And wouldn't it be nice if... Okay, don't complain about a show having a $200 to $500 million budget for a season, or an episode, or whatever crazy figures are getting thrown around, and it's not on television in every home that has a television, everywhere. Like, give me the best show ever, and maybe it gives me courage, it gives me motivation to continue to form these ideas and reach out to these communities. Because, like, if you gave me $300 million and said, make me 10 episodes of a show that will kick Game of Thrones ass. Give George R.R. Martin, South Park, R.R. Martin, a run for his money. You're a nobody. Do you have a single published novel? No. Do you have unwritten novels that have spanned across either decades or single-digit years? Or, you know, notebooks, dozens, hundreds at this point, notebooks of ideas and shorts and trappings and trimmings of many stories that just end up filling pages at random and then either are lost to the years or, I mean, they're all with me in my head. And before I get on too much of a tangent, seeing that it's only been a minute and a half since I checked time. Nope, check that, 2 minutes and some. Don't get discouraged if you hear me rambling or jumping around. That is not an indicator as to my skill when it comes to developing plot points, conflicts, characters, resolutions, settings, the entire menu when it comes to creating a successful story when pounded on one by one through that bullet point list in the mindset of somebody who wants to make it the most creative, the most tantalizing to an audience or to a reader or to a viewer, right, or a player. It becomes very possible to make massive strides in creating broad-reaching, worthwhile ass fucking games, and that's only taking a few weeks to a month. Now, like I said, because I'm a father of 3, ex-U.S. Navy, and in nowhere close to the vicinity of where my particular brand of radar technician has employment. I mean, I just sort of picked up some career-ish occupation while working on this kind of stuff. And it really doesn't even make the money that I need. And that's really unfortunate, man. And I have not shied away from the community, from the global community, as far as social media is concerned. Fucking giveforward.com, GoFundMe, Kickstarter. I put these things out there. No Kickstarters, no GoFundMes have ever succeeded. Give Forward, however, made its way around my social network of Facebook, Twitter, things like that. Now, I did reach out to philanthropists as well and say, hey, look, man, I can make a real difference. And, you know, my family, not only myself, but my beautiful fiance has endless potential due to her prior career and her drive and her personality. And, you know, the 2 girls that I inherited in falling in love with her and planning to be married to her includes the birth of my son, Phineas Kingsley, yesterday. Last night at 9:45. The healthiest baby many of those nurses had ever seen. And it didn't sound like that was not a patronizing, but like a standard cookie cutter comment. Like they say that to everybody that's got a healthy baby. This blonde chick truly was stunned at the process of the birth, even though he was difficult, more difficult than either of the girls. Just watching him come out, almost immediately turn pink. Whoa, crazy rant here, but, you know, come join with me. You might as well know who I am. And this is definitely a good picture of who I am. He comes out and he's so pink, he immediately starts wailing, because I heard they didn't cry until the umbilical cord was cut, because they breathe through the umbilical up until it's cut. Hey, that's pretty cool, right? You know, he started crying, but he didn't like I'm terrified of being in the world, dude. He cried to like blast the gunk out of his lungs. He cried to like welcome the world to its future. And I think it was, you might think I'm exaggerating, but I'm not, dude. He was immediately, upon being dried off, bundled and handed back to us, he was immediately chill. He was immediately adapted. There was nothing frightening. I mean, they put the goo in his eyes to keep them from being blasted by light right off the bat. But he didn't care, man. Like, within an hour, he was flexing his eyes, man. Taking long looks at stuff. Not just, like, I saw his brownish, bluish, deep old eyes, man. He was looking at me, and he knew I was his dad. And he knew that I knew that he was my boy. And I plan, as has worked so well and so beautifully, I connected with this woman, and the eldest of the girls is exactly like me. And she does come with some of my flaws and my chips that I saw in myself as a kid in the past. Personality-wise, socially, and really wanting to put her on the right track as far as knowing whose opinion to give a shit about in life, number one. How to believe in yourself at all times and no matter what the cost. Got her into anime. We do play some Yu-Gi-Oh cards. We do play some Pokemon cards. We get pretty serious. I've been known to take them down with strategy. I mean, these kids come to me with, you know, Pokemon card sets and packs that I got for them for Christmas and their birthday, and they're throwing down all these EX, crazy holographic, futuristic motherfuckers that I've never seen. Or, you know, I haven't played the trading card game in 15 years. And it's kind of like, oh, shit, okay. But I beat them down with the regular sauce pick of the rares. They made the mistake of putting down all these EXs and letting me choose from the remaining pool of also very strong cards, but picking them off their goddamn elemental type. And just their type, I'm sorry. picking them by type, and I swatted one after another my sister with her sweet deck, and I didn't play Kalina, I don't think. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a little bit more difficult of a task. The eldest, hereby known as Kay, Kay loves to watch Yu-Gi-Oh! Because Nika, the little one, was watching Yu-Gi-Oh! In her spare time, and she started loving it because she was on the old school Digimon DVD that I picked up at the Next before I got out. Boom, love Digimon. That segued into boom, loving Yu-Gi-Oh! And then from her watching Yu-Gi-Oh! All the time and blasting through Netflix, now Kay wanted to learn how to play the cards, and I just so happen to have a shit ton of my Fiend deck, my two dudes from the ship. I think there's pieces of y'all's decks. The Spellcaster deck is in there, if that's you, Garcia. And there's pieces of a Dragon deck, which I think was Maglanak, Jouste. That could be you. But, I mean, now that we've spiraled fully off topic, you know, I feel a very good destiny. In a time where everybody's concerned about what's dark and what's harsh and threatening and scary about the world and our relationships to each other as nations, like, hey, all you do yourself a fucking favor and at least hide in the basement when you're scared. Stay on the internet, stay out of the streets, because the streets, and by the streets I mean every regular sauce community in the entire crazily huge expanse of the United States, we all got our own fucking problems, and it would be nice if at least somebody would try to make it better and find something for us to agree on. Like, hey, stop. The issue is, for the geopolitical events of the whole world right now, or at least the top flashy powers, my own nation, which I've served in its military, the United States, Russia, and you know the whole slew. And you know, for anybody who's halfway paying attention that likes to post all these blank space wing shit off Facebook, man, and wants to share these stupid posts about politicians and these ones are bad and these ones are good and this is what they're doing to America and, you know, our rights and I swear to God, man, I was involved in it for a little bit, that discussion on Facebook, but I just kept researching people's posts, finding out they were bullshit, and posting on that page where everybody was liking and sharing it from originally. Hey, I just so happened to look through your shit and this is why it's incorrect, and why are you trying to stir people up and make people more pissed and scared and get them talking shit based off the falsehoods that we all deal with and are either smart enough to look into, overcome, or, you know, sorry, you fell for it. And now if you're just trying to drum up some shit, like, I could understand if a huge thing got uncovered down the line that in general, like, let's say the NRA was sponsoring all these fake pages for extreme right-wing dudes, like Second Amendment times 1,000 different posts and witty shit and talking shit on certain Democrats and undercutting the socialists and communists and getting everybody riled up about crime and difference and religion and ISIS and fucking Muslims and Mexicans and all this other shit that people are, you know, really, it's stunning that people are actually all talking about it and being pissed about it. Like, what if you got time to care about the people who are doing jobs that you're not doing, like if you don't live in the regions where, oh my God, people fleeing a bad situation they didn't have to take a 3,000-mile boat ride with nothing to eat but potatoes and fucking rats and their children trying to make it alive to start a new chapter in America at Ellis Island. No, they don't have to do that. They actually just have to hop across a wall that we built to keep people out, because there needs to be 1,000 miles of red tape to become a U.S. citizen. Don't talk about, oh man, here we are talking about fucking America and politics. How do you people put up? Well, I guess that's why the title is the worst autobiography ever. I was going to ask you guys why the hell you stick around for this, but I mean, check it and see. Hot-blooded. I mean, you're here with Dave Grindal. What were you expecting? I do my goal, right? I'm not always stuttering and stammering, except for, you know, when I'm a little baked. But if I were to do, I swear to God, if I did a TED Talk or a talk at Google about the potential creative future of the gaming industry, I wouldn't be baked. Maybe just a little bit, and I'd wear sunglasses, because that's who I am. You'd get me in a t-shirt, jeans, moccasins, and a hoodie, because that's oh, holy jeez. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I mean, that's me. I would stand up on stage and be like, look here, all you people who, what are you here for? Why are you here? Why would you be at a TED Talk? Because your mind is able to be a little bit more abstract, and you're not the people who get caught up regimenting their lives based off of some shit they heard. That happens in a lot of ways. The reason why I was born and raised Catholic, and only the second I didn't have to go to church anymore, I didn't go. And then after high school and my year of college, I really was outspoken against theistic religions, and was a true proponent of deism, and could explain it and would explain it at great length to anybody, to the shocking number of people. Now, you might think, oh, you're one of these fucking guys that will debate somebody and think you're right because you throw out shit you read on the internet. No. Like, that's not what happens. What happens is you read textbook after textbook after textbook of all of the world's religions, their commonalities, and, okay, we're not talking about 5 or 6 religions. Don't name the big ones. You're talking about all of our recorded history from across the myriad cultures over different time periods, and compiling tens of thousands of religions, developed religions with historical records. And you say, like, okay, well, that clearly says to me that people come up with it in their own time, and it lasts however long it lasts until the next one takes over. Like, oh, you know, there are countries where everybody was a fucking devout Christian, right? Because that's what they knew in age 1XXX fucking through history. In the year 1200, you could be a fucking loyal Catholic, paying your taxes to sheriffs, feudal lords, the church, man, and the church and the clergy live well, but not in all cases. In so many rural places, there are people who truly want to embody and adapt the good of a religious concept, and they'll act and be known through their faith basis as people of renown who were truly special. And I mean, that might even filter down to the local monks or the local priests and deacons who would defend their flock and their people from greedy tax collectors, oh, I hate doing that, speaking fucking punctuation out loud. You know, all of this range of shady characters. But then guess what? The beef between Christianity and Islam in the year 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 hundo, now a bunch of Middle Eastern Mamluks and cavalry archers and pikemen and swordsmen and archers, this fat ass army of people you have never fucking seen before. You're a small town village in the middle of nowhere. There's no, okay, get your mind around it. There's no internet. There's no connectivity. You don't know shit about anybody else. You might have read it, but nobody went to school back then. How many fucking 99% of the population uneducated, can't fucking read? 99 plus, definitely, of people who live and die working the land to keep everybody going. Like, you grow, not everybody had a little fucking vegetable garden out back. There were people who worked with iron and stone to build lumber in agriculture. But, you know, that guy who had a fucking 30 acres of a farm made money. But who really made the fucking money? It was the kings and queens, the monarchy, the ruling class that made the fucking money, because of everything that you do throughout your life, a portion of that would be taken. But for us now, it's kind of like, okay, we take a portion of your check so that later on you'll have paid it for somebody else who worked, but then you'll get it. And I mean, the fact that that's sort of in a state of question as to whether that's really going to work out that way. I mean,